There are only two reasons people watch YouTube, and it's because of these reasons I've helped my clients over the last 6 years get 2.5 billion long form views and are currently getting 100 million views or more a month on long form. And I'll be breaking down those two reasons in this video and how you can use them to also achieve similar results, hopefully. So starting out, let's get the pen tool out and zoom in. So to understand the two reasons people watch YouTube, you have to ask yourself, well, why do I watch YouTube? And if you ask yourself that, it boils down to two reasons. I can promise you, if you boil it down enough, it's two reasons. Reason number one is going to be entertainment, right? And I'm going to denote this with ENT. It's going to be entertainment. You want to be entertained. You want to spend your time, and in return of spending your time, the value that you're going to get back is entertainment. It's going to be short-term dopamine, whether it be from shorts or it'll be a little bit longer-term dopamine from like longer videos. The other reason is education, right? Education. Because of its democratization of information, basically allows anyone to teach anything if they're a high enough level expert in said thing, or even if they're kind of a beginner, right? So you want to be educated or entertained. Of these two, there are two subcategories. And as you can see, we've got a lot of tabs here. So what are the two subcategories of the reasons why you watch entertainment? It's really kind of two potential mechanisms that get you to click, or the reason like you would want to watch. And then you have active entertainment. So we'll do AENT. So we have AENT here. And then we have passive entertainment here, which is PENT, right? And then for education, the two reasons you watch educational videos is going to be AEDU and then passive education as well. So PEDU. So what does this look like? You have active entertainment, active education, and passive education. So active entertainment is anything that's going to be generally positioned as a piece of entertainment without any questions, right? That's going to be your Mr. Beasts. That's going to be probably your Ryan Trahans as well, and some others. And we'll go over that as well in terms of what active entertainment looks like for you, the viewer, and how you can spot it. It usually uses words like I'm doing this, right? Where the character or the creator is the main character in the videos that they're kind of like trying to project through. So it's interesting for them, or they're like the game master of whatever show it may be. And then the contestants are the characters that you are invested in. That's very much active entertainment. Passive entertainment usually is going to come in the form of documentaries and some more passive style where it's not jump out at you piece of entertainment. It can also be a little bit of educational as well in terms of like passive education. So it can be like an educational element. These are usually going to be your long form video essays, your documentaries, your things like Volksgeist, your things like Matty Balls, things like that, where you're talking about a more passive piece of entertainment that's not going out of its way to entertain you, but its goal at the end of the day is to be an entertainment product. My channel that I personally run, Couch Co-op, is a passive entertainment product. Next up is going to be education. We have active education and passive education here. Active education are going to be things that you are directly searching up. If I need to look up how to change a tire, I'm going to search up how to change a tire, right? It's going to be those things that you search up. And I have some examples that I've brought up as well that you could potentially use and figure out what makes sense. I quite like active education. And the way that you can think of active education is, would I search this up on YouTube if I was interested in it? Usually it's going to be your more SEO focused videos. And last but not least is your passive education. This is usually where subject matter experts or synthesizers will synthesize pieces of content for you to consume if you are interested in that topic. If you're interested in real estate, you might start out by Googling and looking up on YouTube active education pieces, but over time, let's say you get actually some experience in real estate and you actually want to stick with it, you might watch more passive pieces of educational content that solves a specific problem for you or might interest you in some way that might improve your skill set down the road or immediately. That's going to be your passive education. So I'm going to break that down and talk about exactly what that looks like with active education. So active education, one of the things that I know is, how to make money online. And one of those niches in the how to make money online niche is dropshipping, where we have how to actually start dropshipping. These are things that people are going to look up or they're going to see. And it's going to be a piece of active education where they're trying to actively educate the viewer and the viewer is trying to actively consume this piece of educational content. Next up is going to be Dad, how do I? This is another example that I've brought up in terms of this is something that could make a lot of sense for a piece of active education where he goes like, actively, educating you how to do like dad's pork beans or potato salad, right? If you want to look up how to make potato salad, maybe come here. Again, active education is mostly going to be SEO channels. Think about cooking channels, for example, makes a lot of sense for active education, or fitness channels. Next up, we have the passive education. So I love watches. I love Teddy Baldessara, and I watch a lot of this passive education. This is going to be things like news, things that might interest you if you are in the niche, right? So if I'm looking at like, cheap watches, I'm not going to look up cheap watches myself, but maybe I'll be like, things to know before I buy a Longines watch. Well, I just so happen to be in the market for a potential Longines watch. I want to know what their specific things are going on in terms of calibers, in terms of movements. What is the reliability? What is the sustainability? What's the servicing cost going to be like? What's the out-of-pocket cost going to be up front if I want to go buy one? Should I get one from Chrono, etc.? So because I'm interested in that, that's going to be a piece of passive education that I might look up, but just because I'm interested in it right now, there's a high potential that I will end up watching this video down the line. Or if I was interested at that time, I'd watch the video as it's a piece of passive education. Next up, another piece of passive education is Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi does position a lot of his stuff in terms of like, maybe how I've done this or how I've done that. But you're not going to be looking up how I became the top 1% marketer. You're going to see it. And if I'm a marketer, I'm going to click on it because it's a piece of passive education that I'm going to watch. Alex Hormozi probably does this better than anyone else currently. He kills the passive education market with some of the content that he does. I consume a lot of it, if not most of it. Next up is going to be Simon Squid. Simon Squid is a really interesting case between passive education and passive entertainment. There's an overlap, and that's what's called edutainment. Edutainment is where you have passive education and passive entertainment collide. A lot of the times, actually, you will find that passive entertainment will leverage passive education as a way to keep a viewer hooked throughout a video and to entertain them as well, because you get a double whammy for your time. It's double leverage in the sense that you're getting entertained on one end, but you're also learning something on the other end, which is really, really, really valuable in terms of the potential viewer's time. It's actually something that I quite like as well, and something I've used in Couch Co-op, my own channel, which is a passive entertainment channel where I focus on entertaining the viewer through these pieces of passive content, whether it be focused on presence of mind ideation as a potential leverage for coming up with ideas, or whether it be an outlier ideation such as the racing game. I can know who my target audience is really well, and from there I can create passive entertainment videos that they will watch. They're not going to search up, but if they see it based on similar content in their suggested feed, they are likely to click, which is what I've been able to do. And this has helped this video also get, like 4.5x outlier at 100k views. It's what helped, get the initial start of the channel with hundreds of thousands of views per video. And it's something that I truly believe in. Next up, let's move to someone who's like between passive education and active education. So the way that this works is also, it's kind of like a little bit of a spectrum where you can lean one way, where it's like, it's kind of passive, but it's also like really active, or it can be like really active and kind of passive. You can kind of go both ways. So Ryan's kind of like down to the middle, where it's like definitely active entertainment, where it is something that's interesting, where like, obviously we know Ryan is an active entertainer, but outside of him being an active entertainer, it's also something that's really interesting as well, which is a little bit of a passive entertainer, where it's like, he's not going out there and being like, oh, this is a super entertaining video, right? They're more passive thumbnails that have made people interested in the past. So I thought I'd just throw this out here. I think he's kind of a good blend somewhere in the middle of the active and passive entertainment bucket. Another person who's much like that is Jubilee and Cut and Lad Bible. All these guys are very similar in the sense that they're somewhere between passive entertainment and active entertainment. If you're a core watcher, it might be more active entertainment for you. If you're more kind of like, sidelines watcher, doesn't watch as consistently, might be more of a passive entertainment for you. So yeah, that's something I quite like a lot as well. I think there's a lot of good ideas here, and I will passively be entertained by them. Next up is Preston Goes. Preston Go is another good example between passive and active. I'd say he leans more toward active. I built a go-kart for an abandoned railroad. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of an active piece of entertainment. My RC Submarine Explosion at Sunken Aircraft Carrier. That's kind of an interesting one as well. I launched my car at Alaska's Car Launching Festival. That's definitely a piece of active entertainment. A lot of action there. Next up with active entertainment is something that I like quite a bit is Nico Glenard. So this is where you can kind of have like multiple different reasons to watch someone in the same niche. Now, Nico does definitely do some more educational stuff, and some of it is edutainment, where he educates you, but his main goal is actually actively entertain you, especially with his tier list, Roasting Celebrities Watches, where he uses a form of social hacking, which I've talked about in a previous video, because you can be like, oh, this guy's super famous, let me go break down their thing, because people will know about that, and if they have an interest that overlaps between, hey, I know about this person, and I have an interest in this thing, they will watch, which is a great way to get people in as well. But this is more so an active entertainment channel. He's known for being a personality. He's an active entertainer to a pretty high degree, especially with the content modality he does push out and the formats he does make. So I thought that would be a pretty interesting example to bring two people from the same niche but separate ends of the spectrum with passive education and active entertainment. Next up is Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a great example of the king of active entertainers, where every video goes out of their way to actively entertain you. Very rarely is it going to educate you in any way, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you want to turn your brain off and be happy for about 20 to 30 minutes. You're like, this is fun. So yeah, those are the only 4 reasons, or those are really the only 2 reasons that people watch YouTube. It's going to be active and passive education. And then from there are 2 ways that you can get someone to click, which is going to be an active piece of entertainment or passive piece of entertainment, active education or passive education. And I thought that would be something easy to break down, something that would be interesting for you guys as viewers, and something that you might be able to utilize in your content going forward. And if you know this, you can win the game of YouTube. Now, if you want to work with me and win the game of YouTube even faster, prices start at $1,500 a month for a minimum of 3 months. I've helped creators go from 10,000 subscribers all the way to hundreds of thousands. I've helped creators with hundreds of thousands of subscribers go to millions of subscribers. I've helped creators go from like barely any ad revenue to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in just ad revenue alone. And if you want to work with me, you can DM me on Twitter at Vexian_, or if you're already on Twitter, hey, shoot me a message. I'd love to work with you. But the minimum requirement is you have to be able to pay $1,500 a month. If not, do not DM me. It does not make sense. That being said, it's been Vexian. I hope you guys have found this helpful, and I hope you can utilize this better to figure out what your channel strategy is so you can scale your views up pretty consistently.